Alrighty, hey there guys, Adrian here, aka Jetterburn95, coming at you guys with another video. So in this video, guys, is going to be my Madden 24 wish list. Now, I know the beta is going to be out here in about, say, 2-ish weeks. Let me turn on my microphone here real quick. Okay, that's good, perfect. So I know it's going to be out here in about 2 weeks, and I do understand that, by this point, the game is probably done, right? Like, the game is probably over and done with, or at the very least, they're making some final adjustments on it before the game goes out to the public. I'm guessing for August. We don't know the exact launch date yet. I'm going to assume that it's going to be in August because that's when it normally has been. So that notwithstanding, obviously these are some things that I'm hoping for to see in Madden 24, and these are some things that I would like to see. Obviously, some things change, some things stay the same, but this is just what I have written down. Now, this is my personal wish list. If you guys want to see what it is written out in form, I will have a link in the description below to the post itself, and you can also leave a comment there letting me know what it is exactly you want to see, as well as, if you would like, you can leave a comment on the video, and if we do get enough comments and whatnot on either the Twitter thread and or the Twitter post on the YouTube comments, then I will do a part 2 letting you guys decide what it is else that you want to see. And obviously, I will talk about if I agree or disagree with your decision, with your take, and why I feel like so. Anyway, so let's start off with the first section, which is going to be free abilities. Now, I know some people do not like the concept of free abilities, and it's understandable, okay? However, my proposal is there should only be a certain number of free abilities in the game at once, right? Like, you should not be giving free, route technician, let's say. You know what I mean? Like, I would propose, unless it's to Jerry Rice, but even then, some of the greatest wide receivers ever, you know what I mean? So I think for the AP, for free abilities, there are some abilities that I think should absolutely just be free regardless. First off is Pick Artist, for obvious reasons. Pick Artist is just the best ability for a defensive back in the game, and so obviously I think that should be for free, because obviously you just need it to catch a fucking pick in this game, because EA makes it to where you just drop so many picks for whatever reason. It is ridiculous. The second one is Lurker for your defense, for mainly specifically on linebackers. Now, I'm not talking about pass rushers, the Zadarius Smiths, the DeMarcus Wares, the Jadeveon Clown. Actually, he plays end now. But those type of guys, I'm not specifically talking about them. I'm more speaking on the pass card, the field general linebackers, like the Bobby Wagners, the Fred Warners, the Deion Joneses of the world, those type of linebackers that are really, really good in coverage overall. I think Lurker should just be free on every single one of them, and from launch, by the way. I'm not saying wait till say September or October to give these guys free abilities. No, I think these should be free stock on players day one, for those specific ones. And then lastly, guys, is Identifier on offensive linemen. I think this should just be free, because I think it's ridiculous to pay 1 AP to see your opponent's user. In my opinion, that should not be a thing. I would argue that actually makes it a little bit dumber. It makes it harder on offenses, and I'm not saying offense should be easy, but what I am saying is I just think that personally, offenses do need being able to should just be able to see your opponent's user. Sorry, I don't know why I couldn't just say what I was trying to say. Personally, I think that should just be the case. Next, we have abilities that need to be removed. Now, there are some that do need to be removed. I will not say that there's abilities that all abilities needs to stay and whatnot. I do think some need to be removed. For example, throwing abilities I put on here, even though I would disagree, I don't think throwing abilities are a problem. I think it's just the fact that defenders just do not react. Personally, I think defenders just don't react, and so therefore I would argue that is the main problem, but we'll touch on that when we get there. So again, if you want to say throwing abilities need to be removed, I would disagree, but I understand why you would think that. Another ability I would like to see removed, in my personal opinion, now this is just a hot take personally, I think secure protectors should be removed or at least reworked, because it's very good in the run game and the pass game overall, right? And pass rush in this game, it was very, very good at the start of the year. However, it did take a significant regression once secure protectors started coming out, and because of that, people had 5, 6, 7 seconds in the pocket. No, well, I shouldn't say 5, 6, 7, 4 or 5 seconds, quite a bit of times to look and find a receiver down the field. In my opinion, I think that should not be the case. I think you should be able to get to the quarterback more often than not. So I would like to see Secure Protector reworked a little bit, maybe not full on removed, but like reworked. Another ability that I would like to see removed is Backfield Mismatch. I think a Backfield Mismatch, in my opinion, is an ability that should just be removed because it's already in the game with Backfield Master, and so you may as well just have Backfield Master on your running back. There's no, if you want a pass catching back out of the backfield. So that is what I have to say about those abilities. But obviously there are some that, probably you would say that should be removed or whatnot. Let me know in the comments, guys, what you think about those, about that. Abilities to be removed into traits. Now, I'm not talking about these things being removed from the game in general. I'm talking about ones that need to be put into traits, because there are some abilities in this game that are just glorified traits, in my personal opinion, and I do think that they should be that way. For example, the ones I have listed down: Gunslinger. I think Gunslinger should be a trait built into quarterback cards. Faster throwing animation, yes or no, that type of stuff. Hot route abilities. Now, I'm not talking about the hot route master, like the ability hot route master. I'm more specifically speaking on the traits for the receivers for hot route abilities. Now, if you want to say hot route master as a quarterback overall, I completely agree with that. Because I do think quarterbacks should, I think hot route master should just be a trait built into the quarterbacks as well as receivers. The only reason I decided to walk back on the hot route master for quarterbacks is because I do think it will minimize the quarterback market, and it will make, again, to where only 3 or 4 or 5 quarterbacks are viable at one time, which in my opinion is not very good. It doesn't make the game enjoyable overall, and it doesn't actually make the game, it doesn't provide diversity and make the game fun to play. So I do think that should be the case. Secure Tackler and Enforcer, I would also argue, need to be traits. Should not be needing to worry about spending an ability point or whatnot on Secure Tacklers and shit of that nature. They should be just built into defenders, like Bobby Wagner, for example, should just have Secure Tackler built into him, as well as Enforcer, I think, is another one that should be just built in, especially in combination with the big hitter trait. I think that's what it should be. Now, another one I didn't put on here is Acrobat. I think Acrobat should just be a trait. Guys like Troy Polamalu, for example, definitely is just an acrobatic, human being that was able to just dive all over the field and make plays, everywhere he was. So I would say Acrobat should just be built into defenders, be via a trait as well. Also, there's another, I do want to say things like, for example, Backfield Master, I think should be a trait, because, it goes in combination with the hot routes. I think that should be a trait as well. But let me know in the comment, again, guys. I'd love to hear your opinions on this. Next, we have custom audibles and formation subs. This is something that I just do not understand why it is not in MUT specifically. Why is it not in MUT? To be completely honest, it is inexcusable, because we have this already in the game in terms of franchise mode. It's already in franchise mode. Why is it not in MUT? I just don't understand. In my personal opinion, is completely unjustifiable and inexcusable that they are not in MUT, because we got MUT practice mode finally for, after the longest of times, we finally got a MUT practice mode, but we still are missing, some main features to help make MUT better than what it already is. And continuing on with that, all uniforms in MUT should be available day one. That are in the game. It's kind of crazy to me that we're having to wait the entirety of the year at times, if not longer, to be able to get specific uniforms in the game that are, again, already in the game. You look at things like, for example, the Seahawks Wolf Gray uniforms. That is actually not a uniform you can wear in MUT. I have to do a uniform glitch just to be able to wear that uniform, as well as other uniforms like the blue and gray Seahawks home unis, the neon green with the blue pants uniforms that are home jerseys. I can't wear those in MUT unless I do a glitch for them. But the stupid thing is they're in the game. And in my opinion, that is not acceptable. They need to be in the game from launch and ready to be used, because it just does not make sense why they do this to MUT players when franchise and quick game players and regs players have that already. Go back to the Madden 22 ability system. I think the Madden 22 ability system was perfect. Making archetypes matter was a huge deal for me, as well as the fact that they did not have like so many like free abilities and whatnot. Escape artist definitely did ruin Madden 23, the Madden 22. Don't get me wrong, but they changed that to an X factor, and I do think that they need to go back to the 22 ability system because, in my opinion, I think it was perfect. Play cooldown. Now, this is a hot one. This is a hot one that I've already had some people say they disagree with. But let me explain to you guys what I think play cooldown should be a standard thing in online game modes. In my opinion, it gets boring playing the same things over and over again. Now, I'm not saying that as somebody who, isn't very good at stopping some of the meta shit. Quite frankly, I know I'm not. But at least I try to do my best to have fun and play the game. However, the thing that I think about when I made this is the fact of the fun factor. It is not fun to play the same things over and over and over each and every single game, and with no experimentation involved, right? That and the fact that you also have the idea of, people just not adjusting at times, not being able to adjust at times due to, specific things. I don't know if that really is relevant, but you get what I'm trying to say. Like, the inability to adjust at certain points, at least you give yourself a few plays to figure out what it is that what it is, how to stop that one specific play. So that way you have a chance to stop it in the middle of a game. And plus two, again, mainly it's just because it's boring to play the same shit over and over and over again, and the same plays over and over and over again. Better zone reactions. Now, this is why I personally think that throwing abilities are not the problem. It's just because EA does not have good players, good defenders' zone reactions. They don't react to zones very, very good. The Madden 23 beta zones, in my opinion, even with throwing animations, were perfect. I think they were fantastic overall. They played everything in their zone. They looked to make a play on the ball when you threw it in their direction, even on All-Pro. But for whatever reason, though, as time continued to go on in Madden 23's life cycle, that began to change, and we did not see the reactions from the players in zone coverage that we did in the beta. And to me, that is kind of wild because, like, it was really, really good. Like, zones were at the best they ever were. A lot of people, including myself, were saying that. At least for me, it was in the couple years of experience. But these guys that were saying that they were, we're talking about players that were playing the game for like years and years and years, right? So you got these guys that are saying that zones are really, really good and some of the best they've ever seen. And then now it's like, what happened, right? So I think zone reactions they absolutely need to be in Madden 23. And I would argue them improved in Madden 24. And I would argue that they should not be touched throughout the year. Make people adjust to the game and how they play it. Stop forcing people to adjust. Stop adjusting to those players and make those players adjust to us. And speaking of that, EA needs to stop listening to pro players all the time, / the wrong people in general, i.e. those people that ask for refs on the field in the Madden 23 feedback for the beta, and also the ags to be better in Madden 23. Those type of players, as well as pro players all the time, in my opinion, they need to stop listening to them. They do not have, in my opinion, they do not have the best interest of the game at heart. They only care about what they are running and making sure that what they are running is good enough to win them money. That is it, in my personal opinion. I don't truly think they care about the game overall and the community, as well as the balance of the game. They just want their shit to be good, and that is it. And what bothers me the most about these pro players is they tell us to adjust when it comes to things like, complaining about how Bunch is overpowered and shit. And then and then when you try to turn that on them, they act like they're so much better than you, and they act like they're, just significantly above everybody else because they're a pro player and they're earning money from that. First of all, if you are somebody that does that, fuck you. Just fuck you. Defining your self-worth in a community based on a video game, in my opinion, is absolutely bullshit. Okay, and it's completely ridiculous that you even try to make that type of an argument, yet alone think it's a fucking valid one to begin with, first of all. Second of all, again, no, you just want your shit to be good so you can win money. And honestly, if your scheme is dependent on, problems in the game that you don't want EA to address, then it's not very good. It just straight up is not very good of a scheme, and you need to fucking adjust like you bastards keep telling us to do. Sorry, I got a little heated on that one. My apologies. Anyhow. Next one I have is playbooks need to be better. Now, obviously, more specifically talking about the diversity of playbooks, because playbooks this year were very, very bare bones. Some playbooks were copy and paste of one another, sometimes either directly or with a bit of changes. For example, the Rams and Vikings offense were the exact same playbooks from top to bottom, which, in my opinion, is not acceptable. I understand that the Vikings had a bit of a head offensive coordinator change, I think is what it was. I think they changed offensive coordinators who I think he was a I think he was a Sean McVay, like he was working with Sean McVay before he went to Minnesota. So I can understand that a little bit, having a similar type of offense, because you don't know what he's going to run. However, the exact same playbook, in my opinion, is dumb. It's dumb as shit, and I don't think that should be necessarily something that should be done. Also, the Packers and Broncos offense was very similar. The only real difference between the Packers and the Broncos offense this year was the Broncos offense had more read options because they had a much more mobile quarterback with adding Russell Wilson this year, whereas the Packers don't really have a mobile quarterback. Well, had, I guess in this case, since he's no longer in Green Bay, they didn't have a mobile quarterback like that with Aaron Rodgers. Now, obviously things could change because they have Deebo Samuel now, but you get what I'm trying to say. Like, the Packers and Broncos offense were very similar. The only difference is the mobile quarterback factor and whatnot. So I don't mind similar playbooks, especially if a coaching change or a stuff of that nature is undergone with the organization. But a playbook similar from top to bottom, in my honest opinion, is not good for the game because it does limit playbooks and it does not allow for more experimentation and does not allow for more enjoyment of the product. And that is kind of the theme I'm going for with this type of a video, is just trying to make the game more fun, more diverse, and more enjoyable to play, because I do believe Madden in general should be a thinking man's game. It should be where you actually sit down and you have to adjust and think about what it is that you're doing wrong and what your opponent is doing and how to adjust to what they're doing to give you the edge, right? And, I personally think that's what Madden should be, because it's a lot more fun when games are like that instead of just who has the best, who can use the most exploits, in my opinion. So there was something else that I was gonna say that I was remembering while I was going through all of this, but I cannot remember what it was at this time. But yeah, let me know in the comments, guys. Do you agree or disagree with anything I said in this list? Do you also have anything else you would like to add? Let me know, guys. And if we do get enough for the comment section as well as on the Twitter thread, I will absolutely do a part 2 going over the community requests. But that is it for the video, guys. Hope you did enjoy. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm out. Peace.